Welcome back. Today we finally get to drive this. Let's get on and I'll show you what's happening. So as I said in the last video, hopefully this video will be the one where we'll be physically driving this and seeing how it goes. I've had it out a couple of times. I've done about 50-60 mile in it now, just in the hope of clearing a few things up. What we'll do is though, I'll take you out, I'll show you the little video that I did on the drive test. Obviously I foolishly took it out and I didn't take anything to hold the camera with, so you know, I was in Mexico, it was alright to hold the phone while I was driving, I figured. So we're alright, so I'll show you this video now and then we'll catch up after the video and I'll tell you what the crack is. Alright, so we're on the road. I promised you guys a road test and this is what we're having. There's been a, hold on. There we go. There's been a few developments. I've got a couple of small little issues. I'll talk about them obviously when I'm back, but one of the main issues which you probably will be able to hear is when I shift between 4th and 5th, I get a crunch out the gearbox. I think the gearbox 5th gear sync is toast, if I'm honest. A little bit gutted about that. You know, that's just more money I'm going to have to chuck in the van, but again, once all these parts are replaced, then that will make the van sound, you know. But the fact is, I've done let's have a look. The fact is, I've done 70 mile in the van up till now, and up till now the engine management light hasn't come back on, which I would take that as a win. So the engine's absolutely sound. I've got a small little leak from one of the injectors, I think. Just not quite sealing. I get a little whiff of exhaust fumes in the carb every now and again, which obviously is not good, but it's something I can fix quite easy enough. Yeah, I'll tell you more about it once we get back. As I said in the video, the gears are a little bit on the crunchy side. Not best pleased about it because I was kind of hoping the mechanical stuff was all put behind when it was done. 4th and 5th is, 4th's not as bad as 5th, but 4th still isn't that good. I can change 5th gear out, to put a whole new synchro in without having to drop the gearbox out. 4th gear, however, I have to drop the gearbox out to access 4th gear, unfortunately, or so I believe anyway. It's still in the air a little bit what I do, whether I just go for a refurb gearbox, just throw a second-hand gearbox in, hope it's good, or whether I actually repair this one properly, or whether I just do 5th gear and hope 4th gear doesn't get too much worse. I have changed the gearbox oil in it. The oil that came out of it was like this. Yeah, a little bit on the milky side. Again, the running theme of this van has pretty much been the guys that have done it clearly ate peanuts and flung shit at each other. They were, let's just say, I would call them very loose mechanics. What they've done is, so when they've obviously fitted the engine or done whatever they've done, when they've refilled the gearbox, they haven't put the cap back on the top, the breather back on the top, so all the water that's been raining, and we've obviously had a lot of it lately, it's been running straight in the gearbox and just turned the gearbox oil into what I would class as a latte. Very nice, thank you very much, lads. Anyway, there was a few little chunks and lumps come out of on the sun plug as well, so I was already half expecting a little bit of issues with the gearbox. Anyway, that's all done. What we're going to deal with today though, we're going to put the mechanical problems to one side now because I'm kind of done with them for a little bit. I'll let you see. I've got to try and work with what we're doing. What we're going to deal with today though is sound deadening. Now, I've got a little comparison. Well, I'm going to have a comparison. I've got before video, which I'll put up now. Give you an idea what it's like. I don't know how well this will translate over YouTube because I actually foolishly, when I did the recording, I put the sound on my seat, which, thinking about it in hindsight, has cushioned the phone a little bit, so it's probably dampened down quite a bit of the sound. But it does, when you're driving it does sound like the doors are open. You can hear the whole van like drumming, you know. Now, we're not going for the expensive dodo mat that all the other YouTubers tend to use. I'll be honest, for the value of the van, I don't have that kind of money. Well, I do have that kind of money to throw at it, but I don't want to throw that kind of money at it just in case, you know, we're trying to keep it a little bit on the budget side still. So, as with everything else, I've ordered some sound deadening off eBay. Now, these are 5mm foam sheets. I don't know what happened. From what I read, and I thought they were actually butyl backed, like a hard tar backed, so there was a little bit of weight and denseness in them. But not, as you can see, they're not even, it's not even heavy. So I'm a little bit concerned they're not going to do what I think they're going to do. So what we're going to do is, we're going to go old school. Roofer's flashing tape. So what we're going to do, I've got a couple of rolls of that, we're going to stick that on the sides. I have done this previously before on another vehicle. 2 seconds, I'll show you. This is one of my Novas. I've done it before on this. I've absolutely caked it in the stuff. Now, I swore blind, see it up the back of the dash and everywhere. I swore blind that I would never use this stuff again. It is a nightmare to get off. If you've got to do any repairs or anything like that, it's a nightmare to get off. But I figured it'd be alright on here because we're just going in the middle of the flat panels just to give the panel a little bit more panel a little bit more dense, a little bit more solid, you know. So yeah, so that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna use the flash band on the panels, just try and thicken the panels up, give it a little bit less and a bit more you know. I mean, I'm still going to use this somewhere because I've got it. I was thinking about probably over the rear wheel arches, but I was probably going to do the flash band over them first, so we'll just double up on that. I know that sound deadening is a very hot topic in the camper world from what I've been following. Some people say, yes, you've got to sound deaden. Some people say, no, don't, complete waste of money. All I'm going to say to that is, this is my camper van. I'm going to do what I want to do with it. If you think I'm wasting my money, then, you know, that's not really your problem, is it? So don't worry about it. If you think I'm doing a good thing, then again, it's not really for you. Don't worry about it. Anyway, this is what we're going to do. This is how I'm doing it. Obviously, this is the first one that I've ever done. Whether I make my mind up and change for the next one that I do and decide not to do it, I don't know. Anyway, we'll take it in the back of the van and we'll get started. There we go, that's one side done. Obviously I've still got the roof to go, which I'll need to clean the roof first because I desperately need some in there. And this side to go. Well, I'm trying to give you a comparison. So if I... There's less ringing. That's the vents rattling on there. I'm still unsure what to do with the vents. But if I... down to here... It just gives it a little bit, makes it a little bit more solid. So like I say, what I'll do is I'll do this side here and start and clean the roof, I suppose, and start and get some up there, because that needs some desperate there. I don't even know. Like, I like that they put these ribs in so that you've got a bit of strength in there, but my God, there's just nothing there. Like, yeah, so I'll clean the roof down once I've done that and do it, and we'll see how that goes. So, it sort of was and wasn't the result I was looking for. The sound levels are pretty much the same. The only difference I've got, obviously this time, although it's all sound deadened, if you look this time, the panels are actually completely off the bottom half of the van inside. Like, it's completely stripped out inside now, so that will make it a little bit louder. And also, it wasn't really a fair test because it is raining, as you can hear. It is actually raining outside at the moment. So I mean, all this will add to the noise. So I assume it's kind of counterbalance the two things. What I'll do though, I'll keep these recordings, and obviously as I add more stuff into the van, every now and again I'll just do a cycle of the recording again. I know what stretch of road I do and what speed I'm doing, so we can do that and just see what kind of noise we can bring it down to. Obviously the ideal goal would be to have this thing like a Rolls Royce, you know, so it glides along and you can't hear anything running. However, sound of the big old noisy toot-toot at the front, that's never going to happen, you know. Best hope is make it as quiet as we physically can. Yeah, so what I've done is, I shall show you. Sorry, what I've done, if you look, it's all sound deadened inside the doors, right the way around. And I've put extra sound deadening on both of the wheel arches. Not prettiest, but it does the job. It does make a difference. I have underneath that, I think that's only about 3 or 4 mil sound deadening with the foil top. Underneath that, I have also put the flash band on as well, just to try and give it a little bit extra. As I say, that although the test results did kind of sound exactly the same, it certainly came up with the same score on them both. The van does actually sound quiet at a drive. It's a weird kind of feeling. It's not as tinny, you know. So yeah, that's it. That's all we've got time for on this one. It's been a bit of a weird one. It's been over a couple of weeks. This one I've been in the making. As I say, it is a start of it. Next thing from here, at some point I've got to go and get to a public weighbridge, so I can get the thing weighed, so I can just find out what I've got to play with, basically. Because obviously with these campers, when you're building them, every ounce counts, like, you know. The other thing I've got to do as well, at some point, I want to try and get it done this side of Christmas. I've got to unfortunately pull the gearbox out, and 4th and 5th sync row I've got to replace. Hopefully just the blocker rings, so it's not going to be a bad job. But I won't know until I get in there, really, you know. 4th and 5th gear, I can select without crunching, but I've got to be very slow at selecting the gear. If I do any kind of normal speed gear shift, as it were, I just get a crunch and a grate and it's in, like, you know. So yeah, the gearbox still needs rebuilding. This has not been a very profitable venture, as it were. Hasn't been without its faults, this van. But obviously once it's all done, the van's going to be absolutely mint, with the exception of the very shady welding that's been done on it. But I'll deal with that as we'll come to that. Yeah, so the good news is, in the back, so I've started the sound deadening now. The floor's going to have to come up at some point in time. Once the floor's up, I can clean the whole inside of the van down, give it a good mop out with some hot soapy water. And then from there, just trying to work out what these flashy lights were above the door. Yeah, hot soapy water, floor's out, so obviously that's the only thing I've got to do, and then treat the rust, pop some paint on the rust so that it doesn't get any worse inside the van, and then basically everything we do from that point on is putting things back into the van to try and create the ultimate goal. So yeah, so anyway, if you like what you've seen and you haven't already, please consider subscribing, because it would mean the world to me, and it costs you guys absolutely nothing. So yeah, for those who are subscribers and have been watching, thank you very much. And that's it for this time. Don't forget to leave a like if you like the video, and a comment if you've got any suggestions or thoughts on the whole process. But yeah, other than that, thank you very much, and we'll see you guys next time.